So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to my 20th reflection video of my 30-day, 30 reflection challenge. Almost done this thing, almost done. Today's video ain't gonna be too long, not more than 10 minutes. Try to keep it less than that. Because it's not that big of a thing for me, but it's still something that mattered a lot for me growing up, more than I realized, and occasionally in adulthood has came up again. And that's support, feeling supported, knowing that you are supported, you know, those are two different things and they both matter. Someone could tell you they love you, someone could show you that they love you, but do you believe that they love you? Do you accept that they love you? And the same for support. Someone could tell you that they're supportive of you, and they could even show you that they're supportive of you, but do you believe it? Do you trust that support? Do you feel it? Do you know it? It's all different things. And I have to say that because, growing up, before school got hard for me, elementary, middle school, I was an honor roll kid. We went to school every day. Me and my brother, my mom, my family was big on going to school every day and not taking no days off, not missing no days, and doing our thing, getting good grades, getting on the roll, getting perfect attendance, getting awards, stuff like that. And that was something that we prided ourselves on, and it felt good at a time, but you don't quite understand it when you were a kid. But moving into 5th grade and middle school, which for those of you who watch my previous videos, you understand how my elementary and middle school experience was by now. And if you're new to just this video, my late elementary to middle school experience was rough. And obviously what comes with that is slacking grades, slacking attendance, stuff like that. And one thing that I thought about over the years, looking back, is, can't lie, and no shade on nobody and no disrespect on anybody, but a lot of times I didn't feel supported. I wasn't supported enough, again, no beef, no problem, no shade, no nothing, but there was a time where it seemed like my older brother was just so good at everything. Like, he got on the roll, he was playing sports, he was in clubs, perfect attendance. And, when I got these things, it seemed like it didn't matter as much, It seemed like mine wasn't supported as much. I didn't have as many friends. I didn't have that great of a social life, Don't get me wrong, I had teachers pouring into me, trying to get me to do the right thing, trying to get me to focus, trying to get me to maximize my potential, use my reading skills, my high reading level to my advantage, which I did at times. I had some of the highest reading scores on like standardized testing at the time was PSSAs and stuff, which they still do. And, I would get high scores on that, proficient, advanced, stuff like that, back to back all the time, and, I won awards for that. I got a free bike, I got a free iPod, I had rewards for that. But as time went on, because of the things that happened in my family's life, I don't blame them. I'm not mad. I'm not holding no grudges or nothing, but it's worth noting that, so much was taken away from us and so much happened that by the time I got to middle school, everybody was kind of drained and kind of tired and didn't really have the energy to invest and to care a lot more than they should have, than they did, and I didn't realize it till like high school, honestly. And then after graduating high school and being a young adult, starting to think back on a lot of things more and remembering and just taking mental notes, it just wasn't there. Like, one thing that I talked about with my fiance that we both talked about is times where we didn't feel like nobody cared, or times where it's like you doing so well but nobody rewards you, nobody pats you on the back, you don't get good gifts, you don't get good surprises, like all your hard work be adding up to nothing. And it be like that sometimes. You know, we all experience it. It seems like sometimes parents or teachers or whoever seem like they so hard to please for no reason. And not that you going out your way, but it's like, I want to be acknowledged. I wanted to be noticed. But, you know, like I said, things was happening in my life, you know, in my family's life that, you know, threw us all off. So by the time I got to high school, 2012, 2013, you know, how was I going to get the support that I really needed and wanted? So, you know, I was misguided a lot. I was angry a lot. Felt like I was left out a lot of things. Didn't really talk about grades anymore. Didn't really talk about attendance anymore. I just knew it wasn't the best, but it's just like, you know, what you gonna do when you're not having fun in school and you're not thriving, you're not succeeding, and it seems like nothing's getting through to you, you know, what do? You sidetrack, you do whatever, you float through school, you make it through the day, you don't got no motivation, you don't have no one to make proud. You know, even when I tried to make certain teachers that I knew believed in me proud, it just wasn't enough, you know. And I'm not saying again, like, my family always tried to ask me how I'm doing. You know, they did here and there. Neighbors, family, friends, always checking. How's school going? But, you know, that's typical to just ask. But it's like nobody's going out their way to make sure that I'm on point like I could have been. So, luckily, you know, fast forward without all the drama in between, you know, like I said in other videos, and most of the time, I'm going to reference this all the time. You know, when I got to 11th grade, halfway to the end of 11th grade and into 12th grade, you know, I got my junk together, you know, got my stuff together and snapped out of it because I just had one conversation with my mom, a deep conversation about, you know, potential and like, you know, I should be doing better than this, you know, I need to be on track to graduate. I was almost on track. I was almost on to the point where I wasn't gonna graduate on time. You know, I had to do a credit recovery program, you know, and get my stuff together at the last minute, which luckily I did, and I graduated on time, you know, in the proper time frame, but I almost didn't make it, you know. And when you get down to it, looking back, you know, a lot of it had to do with poor support. You know, again, no shade, no disrespect, no nothing on family, you know, but a lot of it had to do with poor support. A lot of it had to do with me personally too, just not sticking to it, but nobody had nothing good enough to say to me either. Yeah, you could argue, why do you need someone to tell you what to do? Why do you need someone to push you, to motivate you? Yeah, when you're a teenager and a child, you know, you do need someone to hover over you sometimes and give you that extra push in the right direction, you know, instead of letting you wander off and do your own thing. Now, you could argue again that, you know, I was the type that I feel like I had a lot of things figured out and I knew what I was doing. And when it came to like my spiritual and emotional growth and trying to figure out who I was, yeah, I knew what I was doing, but it was hard to figure out school. Figuring out school was tough. So, even leading into my adulthood, you know, there's a lot of moments where I felt like I wasn't supported properly. I felt like nobody had my back. I felt like even if I did explain everything, and times when I did explain everything, things didn't go the way I would have liked them to go. You know, it's a crappy feeling. You know, it makes you mad. It makes you distance yourself. It makes it hurts. It makes you wonder. But all in all, you know, support goes both ways. You gotta accept support. You gotta ask for support. You gotta want support. But I'm just making an argument for the kids and the teenagers that don't have none or hardly get any. You know, how do you expect good results when, you know, it's not being poured into you, you know, when it's being overlooked, when it's not being treated the same as someone else, you know, it's just be like that. So, you know, I ain't gonna drag this out no much further than that, and just understand that sometimes, you know, low support impacts your relationships. When you feel like your friends or your family, co-workers, mentors, whatever, whoever, once upon a time they support you and then they don't, it can hurt. And or when you would love to have some kind of support and you're not getting it, it can hurt. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the best support you can have is yourself at the end of the day, because only you know what's going on. Only know what you know what you need to do. Only you know where you made mistakes. Only you know how much work needs to be done more than anybody else. You know, you just got to be honest and accept it for what it is. Stick around for the next video.